Hello Cancer, and welcome to your new moon lunar cycle insight video for the cycle beginning with the new moon in the sign of Libra on the 8th or 9th of October, where depending on where you are in the world, and culminating with the new moon in Scorpio on the 7th of November. So this is a deeply transformative and alchemical month for us all as we dive deep into Venus retrograde in Scorpio. And this is really the month of evolution through relationship as we learn about ourselves through the Venusian energies of love, intimacy, joy and pleasure. So this video is designed to guide you through these energies as they reflect in your birth chart. So we begin this month with this new moon in Libra, and traditionally the new moon in Libra can be a very harmonious love-filled lunation that brings balance and peace and harmony. But what's really interesting this year as we head into the Venus retrograde in Scorpio in Libra is that it is squared by Pluto, who is of course the modern ruler of Scorpio. So it's very, very interesting that this moon is a reflection of the Venus in Scorpio, Venus in Libra retrograde energies. So this can really open a window for us to start to see how we can evolve through our relationships, how we can use our relationships as a source of growth. Pluto in evolutionary astrology is concerned with the evolutionary desires of the soul. Libra is concerned with the other. And so this shows us how we can use our relationships as catalysts for deep healing work. And this is particularly true for you, Cancer, because this moon falls in your 4th house of your birth chart, which is very much connected with our family connections, our karmic connections with those that we share bloodlines with, those that we grew up with, those that we shared our childhood with. And Pluto has been in your 12th house, in your 7th house, since 2009. He's been in Capricorn in the 7th house of your birth chart. And he was joined there by Saturn late last year at the winter solstice. So we can see that you are really already on a journey of relationship work and relationship healing during these times, Cancer. But for you, this new moon will give you an opportunity to balance, these commitments to your home and your family with your commitments to your relationships. Both of these points of your chart can now be used to accelerate your own inner healing and growth. So if there are things that are out of alignment, out of harmony, out of balance, this is when they can really show up. And Cancer, you are a very giving, nurturing sign, particularly to your family members and those people that you love. So we can look at, issues of equality here. Are you receiving the love that you give to others? Are you over-giving? Are you over-attached to the people in your life and having them behave in a certain way? Are you over-mothering others and to your own detriment? Or are you not allowing yourself to be mothered to your own detriment? So these are all issues that can come up during this period as the sun and the moon move through your 4th house. And it can also, on a more practical level, create change in your physical home foundations. So you might be thinking about changing your home in some way, moving, redecorating, something like that. Or it can take you, deep into the waters of memory as well, deep into healing your own family karma and genetic lineage. When we think of the fourth house, we think of the fact that we are a cell in our body, when in our mother's body, when she is in our grandmother's womb. So that is something that we can reflect upon during this new moon period. After the new moon, we are going deeper and deeper into these scorpionic energies, as first Mercury enters Scorpio on the 9th of October, followed by the Sun on the 23rd. So we can see that Venus, Jupiter, who's been in your 12th house since November last, and in your 6th house since November, 5th house even, since November last year. I don't know why I've got a fixation with the 12th house with you today, Cancer. Anyway, all of these planets, Mercury, the Sun, Venus and Jupiter, will be gathering in your 5th house. And as I said, Jupiter's been here since November last year, and he has been really awakening your creative potential, awakening your authentic expression of self. The 5th house is the Leo house. So if we think of Leo and its ruler, the Sun, we think of this beautiful, shining essence that all of the other planets are magnetized to, and they just revolve around it. And Leo, the Sun, the Solstar, it just shines. It just does exactly what it is born to do. So this is the essence of the 5th house. So these energies here will be asking you to look at everything that stops you from radiating this unique soul essence, this essence of joy and love and abundance and creativity out into the world. So we can be looking at fears around not being good enough, you know, fears around, oh, are my offerings ready to be seen in the world? You know, am I ready to be seen? You know, maybe because you're such a private sign as well, Cancer, there can be that push-pull of, oh, I've got all of this to offer, I've got all of this to share, but oh gosh, it's not very safe, so I'm going to go back and go back into my shell. So we can look at the fears around this during this powerful period. So you could find yourself being very creatively activated during this time as well. So it's important that you do take note of what is coming through, what is wanting to be shared, what is ready to be seen by the rest of the world. And also we can be looking at fears surrounding romance and love as well, as is typical with Venus retrograde, of course, and abundance. Both Venus and the 5th house deal with these aspects of life. So we might be feeling things rising up that needs to be changed in these areas of our lives as well. So these energies, these Venus retrograde energies, these Scorpio energies are kind of being highlighted, reaching a culmination point as we head towards the Taurus full moon, which will be on the 24th of October. And this, as I've been saying in all of the videos, is a very, very powerful moon. It's catalytic. It's the point of catharsis, of release of this entire Venus retrograde period. And the moon is going to be sitting in conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus has been in your 11th house since May this year, and he is revolutionizing your dreams, your goals, your higher visions, re-evaluating your friendships, your social connections and circles. I'm not sure whether you can hear, but as I'm speaking there's a cat crying outside, so this is obviously important and very interesting as we're talking about the Leo house of the birth chart. So this moon will be highlighting how far we've come with liberating ourselves from old social constructs, old familiar structures since May this year. And it will also be sat in square with the nodes of fate and destiny, the North and South node in Leo and Aquarius, which are currently transiting your second house, which is traditionally associated with Taurus and Venus, and your eighth house, which is traditionally associated with Scorpio. So this is an amplification of the lessons that you have been learning and are currently learning. So this can be a time when we might have to let go of some old vision, some old projects, some old connections that aren't supporting us in this authentic creation of self. Or maybe we're involved with friendships or people that don't support us in sharing our authentic self into the world. Perhaps we are, looking at that energy of what we want to give and share to with humanity and what we need to keep for ourselves. So we need to find this balance of having these gifts, having these talents, having this healthy sense of self-love, and then using it in service to our goals and visions. So again, we can be looking at areas where we might be fearful of doing that. And that's particularly as we head into the heart of the Venus retrograde, when Venus conjuncts the Sun. And this will be taking place in that fifth house for you, Cancer. And this is the point of the retrograde where Venus is really face to face with her shadow self, with her shadow sister, all of those things that she has buried or suppressed or denied, tried to run and hide from, all of the shame, all of the feelings of unworthiness, the rejections, and all of those, oh, I'm not good enough as I am. I am afraid to be who I am. I am afraid to step into my power, into my potential, into my purpose. Here we can really look at the essence of the goddess Sekhmet and her, fierce, fiery energy. We can be really burning through all of these old issues, all of these old programs that we've been running around ourselves for eons. So it's a potent period, and really it's looking at all of those things which don't align with your core values, all of those things that you might be involved with online or in your social life that don't align with your core values, all of those creative things that you're trying to birth that your heart and soul really isn't in, can come up to be let go of, can come up to be challenged alongside, as I said, the traditional Venus retrograde energies of sexuality, love, intimacy, and finances. So we're again looking at the sharing of resources energetically and intimately during this period too. And as Venus moves back into Libra on Samhain or Halloween at the end of this month, if you are in the northern hemisphere, we are going into the darker half of the year. We're really going into that deep, deep, deep shadow work, that deep space of shedding, of letting go, as the leaves fall from the trees and everything starts to kind of die and decay. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you're dealing more with the sacred sexuality, alchemy through intimacy aspect of Scorpio as you head towards Beltane, the festival of love, of fertility, of union. So either way, we're working with these essences of Scorpio, so it's just perfect that these retrograde energies are working with us around this time of year, so it's very seasonal as well. So on this day, the 31st and the 1st of November, Venus moves back into your fourth house. And this is very significant because not only has she moved back into Libra, but she has also now become visible to us again. She is starting what is known as her helical rise, which means that she is out of the underworld, she's out of the darkness, and we can now see her on the horizon at sunrise in the mornings again as she reappears as the morning star. And to the ancient astrologers and astronomers, you know, our ancient star ancestors, they felt this as one of the most significant points of the entire Venus journey, because this is where the sign, the house of your birth chart, that she begins her new cycle in. So for all of us collectively, this is of course going to be Libra, which is really lovely because Libra is that sign of balanced masculine and feminine, equal relationship, harmony, peace, justice, equality. So Venus begins her new cycle here, and we work with these energies for 18 months until we go through another Venus retrograde. So this will take place in your fourth house that we talked about earlier, Cancer, when we talked about the new moon. So this can bring a deep healing to all of those issues that I mentioned. And it can also bring deep healing to karmic family relationships. So this is a time of restoring peace, restoring balance in that inner temple, in your heart space. You know, it's one of the very sensitive spots of the birth chart. So when it's out of alignment, we can feel very discombobulated, particularly you, as it's the house of the birth chart that is naturally associated with your ruler, the moon. So this is a time of restoring inner equilibrium and restoring harmony in your personal family relationships. On the same day, Mercury is going to move into Sagittarius, which is your sixth house. And, you know, this is a precursor to November's energies because he's going to go retrograde here. Yay, another Mercury retrograde this year. And also Jupiter is going to enter this part of your birth chart for the first time in 12 years in November. So pay attention to what's rising in the areas of health, routine and work, because they are going, and service and sacrifice, because they are going to be amplified as we move into the next lunar cycle, which will begin with the Scorpio New Moon on the 7th of November, which will bring rebirth in all of the areas that I have discussed with Venus retrograde. So we'll talk more about that next month. But for now, Cancer, I'm going to pick you a card from the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reid. Go, and we have your astrological symbol, the moon, on the back of here as well. Oh, well, this is nice. It's a nice card, particularly when you're having transits in the fifth house. So this is wealth. And this is, I feel, Cancer, reaffirming to you that you can make a living. You can support yourself as you follow your dreams and goals and highest visions. So even if you're letting go of some old ways of creating, some old ways of sharing your offerings into the world, or perhaps just some of the fears around doing that, know that this clearing is creating space for more abundance in your life, more of those Leo energies of prosperity, of joy, of luxury. You know, when we think of Leo, we also think of the energy of the king or queen, the celestial sovereign. So this can be an indication of really you stepping into that sovereignty and knowing that you are worthy, knowing that you deserve, and then that opens the floodgates of wealth, of abundance. You know, it just pours into you when you really come into alignment and you start doing what you love. The fifth house always makes me think of that Rumi quote, let the beauty of what you love be what you do. So we do it without desire for reward, without expectation. We do it just from our hearts. We share that unique soul essence, and then all good things will flow to us. So I really hope that that's helped you, Cancer, bring some insight to the energies that are upcoming for you. And if you would like to connect with me further, you can click the links below to visit my Facebook page, to visit my Facebook group where I do my astrological writings and other offerings. You can also reach out to me for readings there if you would choose to do so. I'm sending you so much love and wishing you a blessed and abundant lunar cycle.